Healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Hello and welcome to Lady Journey, everybody. Welcome.
New year,
new us. So I'm like so excited. I'm in a great mood today.
Same. Well, first of all, people, friends, because you get quite isolated in the mommy world.
Yeah.
Especially in the newborn phase. I'm out of the 4th trimester.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
oh,
we
awesome.
hit the 12 weeks and I'm beginning to see life. I'm slowly getting stage time again.
So amazing.
And Joe and I are finding balance. And then also the baby is not fussy much, and we've got him kind of figured out.
And he's
sleeping a little longer throughout the night.
He's bloated up a bit so that you're like, oh, he's good. He's good.
Yes.
When they're little
growing.
Tiny, it's like, oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then like once they get that like poundage on them, you're like, okay, he's good. He's good.
And the weird noises have gone a little bit. No more.
Yeah, where you're like, oh God, something's happening.
Yeah. But this morning I overfed him and I turned away and looked around and he quietly barfs.
Oh.
There's times where I look down, I'm like, oh my God, did you just throw up a whole bunch? And he's smiling. Like he feels good after he does it.
Oh, he loves it.
So I never worry.
that.
He's just like this. I'm like, you've got like cheese curds all over you. But he's fucking cute, and yeah, he smiles and he kind of coos and lightly talks. So
this is so great.
It's kind of the perfect toy for me because he changes by the time I get tired of the last phase.
Yes, babies for ADHD.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So it's getting better, but now I'm on a stroller hunt. We got the Uppa baby, and that was a nice high end one. I just went on baby lists and I was like, sure, get that. And I was like, a stroller is a stroller.
Right.
And
of course.
It had the baby seat to go into the car seat. But I realized you actually need a stroller for different needs. And it's not a good 2-story walk-up stroller. It's not a good go to the airport stroller.
Yeah.
It's heavy. So I found the Duna, which is pricey, but I figured with all these pricey baby stuff that I'm buying, we're talking the Snoo was $1,000. I was like, I'm fucking getting it. You don't give a shit after a while.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't care how much debt I go into. I just want him to go to bed.
Because, it's also the price of your sanity.
Right.
It's the price of your sanity and your back, and your life, dragging it up the subway steps. You're like, I guess it's just me. Here we go.
I know. And I don't expect people to help. They will. It's been kind. But I'm just going to spend this money. And then I realize they only use it for a short period because most of these products, you're spending thousands of dollars, and they're like, this will only take you to 30 pounds. And you're like, well, I've only have 4 months with this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to resell it. And then mainly I'll end up probably spending $100 to $200 on each of these products. So then that's how I've rationalized all of this. But I got the Duna, and it's supposed to be lightweight, and you just do it with one arm, and it's 10 pounds, and it goes into the car.
It's
and
like a mommy gym, just one of those little workout equipment.
Put it on with the baby here and this.
Yes. Rock on.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's the Sarah Connor of baby strollers.
That's perfect.
We're going into the apocalypse.
You were doing stuff on Facebook Marketplace. You were selling the...
Yeah, so I was like... you just go through inventory. You become a store. It's true. Yeah. You have to keep track, and you're like, well, he outgrows things so fast. People buy, and that was the other thing. I have to tell you, people, when you're buying present or baby stuff, when you're buying clothes for your friends' kids, don't get them. We got stuff for 6 months, or no, we got stuff, bathing suits for newborn, and you're like, he's not. You know what I mean? That's hysterical. By the time we go to the beach, he's going to be a toddler.
Right.
So I feel like we got a lot of summer clothes stuff for a 3-month-old baby where you're like, he's not going to be 3 months in the summer. And it's so weird that people don't do the math.
Yeah, because I think people are. It's more kind of fun for them. They're like, got boob. It's like I gotta get him this. But I think
it's a waste of money.
It's a waste of money. It's hysterical to me that people are like, you can't see anybody for the first 3 months, but you're like, take him to the swimming pool, take him to the Y, to the 3 month. I mean, they do have those infant swimming courses, which look harrowing.
Where
they just kind of throw your baby straight into the pool.
Figure it out.
Yeah, but they do. And they're like, smiling, rotating. Yeah.
You're like, I don't. You're like, it's what a trust.
Okay?
What a trust.
Oh my gosh.
You just wonder how many times they're like, something bad happened at the pool today. We went too young.
I thought you were doing the voice of the baby. Yeah. Something bad happened to me, but I'm fine.
No, I'm doing the coach. Yeah. But it's like when you buy stuff or people buy things, you're like, you have to be mindful if you're buying seasonal stuff, will they be that age at that seasonal thing? You're like, we got a lot of Christmas outfits for 6-month-old. And I'm like, he won't be 6 months.
Yeah. 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 I'm actually planning my second baby shower.
I'm really?
Gearing up for baby shower number 2. And now that I felt your baby shower was a boot camp for me.
Yes.
In structure, in decor. And I'm excited to take my powers out into the world now.
Well, we do our party.
Yeah.
An hour party is the perfect social in and out.
Hi, bye. Thank you.
And then structured like with the games at this time, we'll eat at this time. So there's no dilly-dallying of awkward conversations.
Yes. I like to do an hour wedding. I think that's the move for me. Yes. And thank you.
And we're done.
We're done.
Thanks,
bye-bye.
everybody.
Take a rib on the way out.
Yeah.
Well, I stopped taking birth control. I had not put that down on my journey.
Ooh, wrench.
Yeah. I decided to stop because I was having like massive fatigue. And then I was like, maybe I should get on antidepressants. I don't know what I'm doing. And I just stopped taking birth control. And I feel really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I didn't realize how bad the fatigue had gotten that I was like, I guess I just like can't really live my life anymore because I'm tired because I'm in my late 30s. And now I'm like, oh, I know what it's like to have energy again.
So I find that the trial and error of life, because sometimes you're like, you could just be depressed and have no idea it was because you've been eating gluten for 20 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you're like, you mean I could have had a better life?
Yeah.
But how am I supposed to know all this? Like,
I know.
How did you know that your birth control was making you tired?
I had no idea. And I was on that birth control. Remember, I switched to it and I was like, yes, this is the holy grail. And then I started feeling tired like a few months later after that. And I was like, I guess I'm just burnt out. But I was burnt out. I watched all of Better Call Saul. Then I watched all of Breaking Bad. And I was like, I feel like I should be through the burnout.
Yeah,
like it should end at a certain point that I should rest. I should feel rested.
Well, particularly the first season of Breaking Bad, I was like, guys, I'm not into this show.
Yeah, I was sitting through it, through everything.
You're like, it takes a while for it to kick in.
Yeah. Oh, it's so dark. And I was just sitting there depressed watching it, like no will to live.
Just all anti-heroes everywhere.
Yeah. Just shooting people. It's wildly violent. And then, now I'm not on the birth control and I'm like, oh my God, I have so much energy. I feel great. And I'm like, before I was like, I have to stay on this birth control. I can't have a baby. Like, I don't have the energy. Now I'm like, if I get pregnant, I have energy. I can do anything. I can take care of a baby right now. I can do my taxes.
Yeah. Well, you know what's kind of weird now that I realized with the baby? I didn't realize how much time I was wasting.
Yeah. Oh, you're becoming efficient. That's what they say it happens, where you just naturally are like, oh, I just do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I get I'm realizing I'm probably getting the same amount of stuff done a day. I just didn't realize how much I was scrolling on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or how much time I fucking waste, because now it's like, oh, I don't have time. I actually need to go clean while he's down. So I'm getting the house chores done. Oh, I got to do this. So I haven't really been like scrolling an hour as part of my creative process.
I know. I'm like social listening. I need to see what's out there. I knew a girl who was in, which I find this to be really wildly funny, and there's no intended irony here at all, but she was in a group called Under Earners Anonymous. So I will not say her name, but...
Ooh, I got to join this because I feel like I'm in that. I mean, clearly I am. I don't bring anything to the table financially.
Well, babies make no money.
Yeah.
So all moms should be in there. But so the premise of Under Earners Anonymous is that like you have an addiction to time wasting and like you're just frittering your time away.
I'm a dilly-dally.
You're dilly-dallying. But it's like, but wait, what is this meeting then?
Yes.
Like just get out there and get a freaking job. Don't go to another meeting, another means of a dilly-dally.
Oh yeah, I got to get a beverage. Let me go make my beverage. I don't have this.
Let me go to my meeting.
Yes.
My meeting. And what do you even do at the meeting?
Or journaling that we talked about earlier.
Get a little notebook.
Yeah, let me write out my to-do list properly.
That's what
artistically with me. These new markers that I got.
It's my Muji.
That I have to wait for.
My Muji pens.
Yeah. I can only work until I get my Muji pens.
Yeah, I've been ever since I stopped my free writing. I stopped the free writing process.
I'm all for it.
I think it's really changed my life. I think going back off the birth control has helped too because I've felt like a lot less fatigue. So I'm like feeling a little bit more like, okay, I have a list. I just sit down, I do the list.
Yeah.
But I'm still going on antidepressants. I'm just still waiting. I'm waiting for them to.
I have a hard time with these kind of drugs like the antidepressants because I've been on them and then like the birth control. I can't figure out if it's affecting me.
Yeah.
Or if I'm dealing with life stuff. So it's really hard that I've just decided I just don't do any of it. And just that way I can, what do they call it? Like 30 for the whole 30 where you take everything out.
One thing at a time.
And then see what is affecting your life.
Yeah. I don't know if these are going to help. I mean, I think I do have PMDD because I've been tracking my cycle and it's like literally right after I ovulate or like supposedly would have ovulated in the case of being on the pill. It's like my mood is just taking a dip and it's like the fatigue is hitting. And even after I stopped taking the birth control, I'm not having as much fatigue, but I'm still having like a lot of mood swings. So I think I just want to try the SSRIs because I don't want to be that person that gets on it and they're like, oh my God, I should have done this like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to try it. I'm going to see, I'm going to use the symptoms for the bit alone, for the material alone.
Wait, what do SSRIs do?
The SSRIs, they are supposed to help with, really my problem is more anxiety than depression, I think, but they kind of just smooth it over. They help you in not have mood swings, not have obsessive thinking. I had a mood swing, this is a premenstrual mood swing, but this is like what I'm dealing with, okay? Like when we were in Key West, which we will be getting into in the bonus episode, check out our Patreon.
Tuned, join.
And like and follow, thank you. So we go to, there was like this brunch place. Everyone's like, you got to go to Blue Heaven for brunch. You got it for
it's
brunch.
Fun.
You got to go. And so I'm like, okay, great. So I got up, I'm doing my thing. Mike is sleeping, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go put our names in for brunch. The wait was an hour and 45 minutes. It sent me on to hell. It sent me on a spiral. I was attacking myself. I turned the anger inward. I turned it towards Mike. I was crying. I mean,
you didn't accept the wait?
I did accept it, but I was still upset. Because
you can do both.
Yeah. And even I was like rationalizing it in my mind why I was like, I could have put in the names earlier.
Yeah.
You know, we could have had the people that we were.
But you're like, how did all these people get here that it's an hour and 45 minutes?
It is not socially responsible to have a wait list that long.
No,
it's not ethical.
Do you think it's because all the people that live in Key West are alcoholics?
They're all just there having 18 mimosas and they can't get them to leave the local tables.
We're just like, our staff hasn't showed up yet. That's why it's an hour and 45 minutes because they're hungover from the night
from
before.
The Green Parrot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so that was an example of one of my more my more bad mood swings that I felt like I was like, let me just see. So I'm still going on that, but I actually did get the prescription, but they don't have it, which is so funny. They're like, they have a mental health crisis in this country. You're like, how bad could it be? And then you go to like pick up a drug. They're like, we don't have it.
Yeah,
but we could get it. Or you could go to somewhere else.
It's the new Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. They're like, you could go to a different CVS. I'm like, well, do they have it? Am I just supposed to go from town to town like a traveling salesperson? Like, does anyone have any sertraline? Like, what is going on? So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I wish that was on Sex in the City, them trying to find their antidepressants.
Oh, that would have been a great one. Yes. Yeah, like Kim Cattrall can't come.
Yeah,
that's her plot line.
I'm surprised.
Carrie's nauseous,
I'm only bringing up Sex in the City references because at least once a year I watch it.
Yeah, I think it's really important to check in with it and see where you're at, because
it changes.
It does. I remember I watched all of Sex in the City after a really brutal breakup in like 2011, 12 maybe, and I watched it. I was like, that got me. That healed me.
It did.
And then I watched it about 7 years later, and I was like, wow, these are problematic. Some of these plot lines are really problematic, and the way Carrie talks in I don't know what the appropriate term to call it, but black woman voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Her black, where she's like, yo, girl. You're like,
me, girl. She's doing a lot of this.
She goes into it. You're like, oh.
I remember I just picked up on that this last round that I was like, that is really bad.
Really wild, where, I remember that was a thing that people would do, that, and I should say white people. And it got to the point where people were still doing it, and you as a white person would be like, oh no, do I tell them that we have to stop doing that?
Yeah. I also felt like when she was doing it that she was really feeling it as an acting choice.
Yeah. That came from her. That 100% was not the director. Like, and maybe put a little sauce on this one.
It just felt like Sarah Jessica Parker was really like, look at me. Look what I brought to the table today.
It's so funny too, because you can see, and just like that, where they go back and they try to make amends for that behavior.
Yes.
But
I think
they don't
just like
do
that
it,
is doing. Yes.
They don't do it in a way which would be appropriate if they were like, hey, remember when I used to talk in black accent?
Yeah.
That was weird, and I'm sorry I did it. Instead they have
just be an amends.
Yeah, instead they have just like a cool, the cool non-binary character who's like the friend,
I feel like each white character in Sex in the City got their own person of color animal, not animal, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that sounds bad. But you're like, why are we? It's so crazy that it's
almost like a qualifier.
Yeah.
Like, no, I have her.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like a weird, it just felt obvious.
Yeah, it felt obvious. It felt very pandering.
I felt like the only character that I really liked was the one girl that kind of replaced Kim Cattrall's this realtor.
Yeah.
I liked her character, and I felt like she wasn't like jammed in there for us.
Yes, and I think also it was because like she was actually replacing the Kim Cattrall and not like making the other person's behavior from 20 years acceptable by being like, this is my friend.
Yeah. Well, and then when you watch old Sex in the City again, you're like, Kim Cattrall's still the best character.
She's great.
Yeah.
She is great. Now I am on also a new journey. I mean, this is kind of like a catch-up episode because we took a
little break.
We're on our maternity break.
From the last recording was beginning of last month, and then we're at the end of this month.
Yeah, it was like,
so it's 2
like
months
7
almost.
weeks.
Yeah.
And then before we had...
I don't need it.
Don't worry. It's good.
They won't notice.
Yeah, and then we had like 2 widely spaced out sessions, but now I'm really excited about the new year.
I am too, because I feel like I'm slowly getting my bearings back.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to trying to get stuff done. I'm doing the pilot writing thing, but I've already taken a day off.
That's okay. I've taken many days off.
Because I did 2 exercises in one day, and then yesterday I was like, well, I did 2 exercises in one day.
Yeah. The thing about, which I will tell you guys, it's called Screencraft. They have a 30-day pilot writing email. It's $50. I gave it to Sarah for free. Sorry, sue me. Okay. I've sent it out to a lot of people. Getting my money's worth. But it's really cool. If you're thinking... Loud budgeting. If you're thinking of writing a pilot, I do recommend it because this is what it changed everything for me. Because when I have written pilots before, I go into like my psycho spirals where I'm like, now I need to research race car driving. I need to learn everything about the sport of race car driving for my character. But they just give you a little bit every day. You just do that much, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And having the ending point for me is really helpful because I'm like, oh, I can do. Now I wrote a draft and then now I am rewriting, and that's taking me into, that's hard. That's the hard part. And they don't really give you a lot of like outlining in that process, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, I decided to write in a spiral notebook instead of doing computer with it. I'm going.
Oh, I love this.
I'm going Harry Potter style.
Yes. Old school.
Yeah. J.K. Rowling writing.
Oh my God. I love that. Yeah, because you're not all of a sudden shopping for rings.
No, and then
What are my ads? Who knows?
And I actually like the way I find handwriting to be cathartic, and I actually like writing my penmanship.
Yes.
Practicing my penmanship.
I love a little
It's so
cursive.
nerdy, but you're like, I practice my penmanship.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm big into. I love my cursive.
Me too.
I love my cursive. My little hand cramps though. I get little hand crampies.
And the best writing utensils for cursive, I think, are mechanical pencils.
I was gonna say that. Oh my God, we are so aligned right now.
Totally.
So Lady Journey. But I've got my new hair dryer.
Yes, you came in. I could tell.
Oh my God, I've come in with a confidence. I'm not quite using it right. I'm like still very right-handed with it. So I'm kind of doing every side like this side. This is my best side.
Oh, I can't ever do the back. And then I'm always like, I don't have to look at it.
Nobody
That's not
knows.
my problem.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
If they see you from the back, whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Don't go
that's
back
your
there.
problem. But I can't recommend this enough. People had told me to get this for a long time because I have the wavy hair. So it's like the barrel dryer. So you have like a brush and you're brushing it. So you're kind of brushing it under.
Yeah.
I'm still flipping a lot because of the length of my hair where it is like it's hitting my shoulders, which is fine. But at least I'm looking sleek. And that's
coiffed.
Yeah, I'm looking nice and coiffed.
And I've decided I did decide this year. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to do my hair better on stage. Because I look at photos and I'm like, what?
I have
Sarah, it looks like you've been on a convertible to like it's bad. I want it to be like a blowout or like waves or
just done. Just looking done. Looking
Yes.
done. I feel the same way. I have video of myself. I have an incredible video of a performance that I did in like 2016 or 17. I was in Portland at the some kind of women's festival or something.
Oh, I did that one.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. And I loved the woman that put it together, and I had the best time. And Caitlin Palufo and I were there together. We were running around and eating like cronuts or whatever. And my hair, it looks like I stuck my finger in a light socket.
Yeah.
It is so frizzy. And I'm like, this is a great video. These are bits that I never even do anymore.
Yeah.
And I can never share it with the world because I'm like, well, I was doing my best. I don't know what was happening.
Well, sometimes I worry of some of the things I may have not gotten in life because it looks like I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I do actually think you get more stuff when you look better.
I love looking good.
And then I say that, and then Sam Talent is out there in cargo shorts.
Yeah. Well, he's a man. Different standards.
And I'm also, my conscious effort this year is to dress better.
There's nothing that makes you feel good as a mom. I'm speaking. I love that I've like commandeered your baby as my identity. I'm like, the baby is keeping us from travel this year, but we'll be out there next year. But like being a mom and looking put together, you're like, I can do it all.
Yes, I actually think this is another revelation I've had as a new mom. You can't really have it all, but you can have a lot of little stuff. It's like tapas of life.
Oh, the tapas of life. The girl dinner of life. I love that. That's your next album.
Just a little. I can only have a little bit of this. I can't have a lot of success. I'm gonna have a little bit of success. Some milestones maybe here. I won't probably be the best mom, but I have great moments. Yeah. And some days I'll look okay.
Yeah, that's great.
But I've decided, because what I only do is I only wear 4 things.
Yes.
And I'm going to go deeper into my closet, and I'm going to try to do capsule wardrobes and
yes.
several rotations of different capsule wardrobes because I have a shit ton of stuff that I never fucking wear.
Yes.
So
I love this sweater that you're wearing.
Thank you.
You look very French today.
I went
Dare
H&M.
I say.
Yes, and there's a new fashion influencer I follow online that has a mom body, and I love her, and she's inspired me.
I love this.
Meg Allaby.
Meg
She's in
Allaby.
Manchester, England.
Oh, she's the clip girl. She's
Yes.
the clip girl.
And
Yes.
there's and I like her color choices and the way she wears stuff. And I'm like, her body's mid-size, and I'm like, that's relatable.
I love the mid-size. I love the
Me
mid-size
too, 'cause
woman
it's
taking
actually,
over
like, regular.
It's just like a normal size.
Yeah, because I felt like we got lost in the world of fashion.
Yeah.
Because it was like either you're rail thin like a Bella Hadid or you've got to be plus size, and you're like, I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
A slight pooch or like body things I'm not happy. Maybe
mom body. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That why like try to force myself into one or the other.
Right. I know. I'm so over like this idea of like I have to get back to my body I had when I was 22, and like I'm running. I'm running on the treadmill of life. It's like
Yes. And then I find all of that to be, as we talked about, like I find I'm trying to change my exercising to like walking because I've heard that's better somatic healing. I might want to get into.
Okay,
somatic movement.
That sounds
That's the stretching.
scientific. Oh,
and
yeah.
the movement to release trauma from your hips.
Oh.
Which I don't believe in, but
Yeah. There's a ghost in there.
I've heard people cry and pigeon pose, and I'm like, I want to do that.
I actually did cry in pigeon pose one time, but it was only because I was forcing it so hard, and I just had a breakdown. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm just jamming my hip down.
Yeah, I want to get looser hips. I have tight hips.
Oh, ever since I started, I did take a step back from the intense classes at my gym, the ones that were like wiping me out. Ever since our soft living episode,
I think they say it spikes your cortisol levels that you end up
the whole rest
your
of the
body's
day.
like,
I'm like, you know, like someone's startling me because I'm just wild from like fighting for my life.
being yelled at on a
Puts you in a
Peloton
fight or
bike.
flight. Yeah, that'll put you in a fight or flight. Your instructor's like tickling you. You're like, no. But the Pilates I love, and it's easy.
And you don't need equipment.
Easy. You just get through the class. It's like, oh, you're just like doing like little roll-ups, little sit-ups while you're listening to like, you know, whatever the latest hits are. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like, I feel bad sometimes I can't do my leisure workouts. So I find I've narrowed it down to 30-minute workouts.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Or if I go for a walk, I'll go for a walk, and that at least two birds with one stone, because then the baby will sleep while I'm walking.
Are you keeping him in the little front jumper thing?
I am, and then he was really into that, and lately he's been fighting it. That I don't know what's going on. Babies are algorithms. You think you figured it out, and then they've changed on you all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're like, my post.
Yeah.
What's happening?
No more. So I have to figure out. That's why I'm hoping with the new Duna he'll. But I like the mommy wearing.
I love the term Duna because it kind of sounds like you have an au pair or something.
Yes,
it's like you're
Duna.
throwing out a word that means
Like
nothing.
doula?
Yeah. Oh, like a doula.
And
yeah.
I was thinking, I want to. The idea of like a night doula, I want to get one time and see what I'm missing.
one night a week or something, just so you can be like, wow, I'm feeling refreshed.
Yes, that's all I want.
So that's my hair journey. Like previously, what I had been doing is blowing my hair up. You know, just like I'm just blowing it,
but it gets all frizzy.
It gets frizzy, and you're also just like I'm just holding the dryer to it, so it's just going here. I guess you know, like I was blowing it upside down and then
your
like
hair,
flipping it up.
Hand gets tired in the angle with the brush when you got two at the same time.
I could never do it. I would just be like, I'm just brushing my hair into the heat.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the hand strength for this kind of
I'm not
gymnastics.
a professional. I didn't go to school for this.
I know. Well, I didn't come from a blow drying household.
No,
like growing up, I would just go out wet. I mean, I remember one time going to the movies. Actually, it was to see You Got Mail. Wow, flashback. And I was waiting with my little girlfriends. We're so excited to see Meg Ryan fall in love all over again. And my hair froze. My wet hair froze. So and I never really blow dried at all.
That's insane.
I know. to be like, bye. I'm just going out in winter in Indiana with wet hair.
Oh my God. I used to go out with wet hair all the time in high school and
my
middle
gosh.
school. And now you're like, that's kind of crazy.
I can't.
It's kind of crazy,
so
right?
Uncomfortable.
I used to go wet hair and put my hair back in a tight ponytail and then just have hair breakage.
Oh my God, the wet, tight ponytail that's sending me.
It seems unhinged actually to go out with
just putting I know the exact feeling, the feeling of the wet hair tie as you're like kind of wringing the water out.
If you showed up to your office job with wet hair,
yeah,
just like my shirt would be like wet for half of the day.
Yeah. Well, I will say I do love, especially when I had that really short hair, I loved air drying in the summer.
Well,
like
I
air
like
drying like
drying
outside.
because you get a natural wave.
It's so nice.
Yeah, and the texture feels better. Can I tell you, I just tried that silk pillow. And everyone's like, your hair will be like, it smooths out your hair. But can I tell you, I think it made my skin break out. So it's like, you can't have it all, ladies.
Yeah.
It was like, my hair's amazing, but I felt like I had more red zits everywhere. Like, bad skin. And I was like, is it because the oils aren't, I don't know.
It's not like cotton is breathing more or something.
I have no idea.
Yeah, this pillow science. Can't get into it.
If you guys know, let me know because I don't know.
Get the My Pillow guy on here.
Yes, the satin.
The satin. She gets the satin pillow.
That's what I've heard, but I feel like it makes me break out. It does make you look younger because you have bad skin.
Lex suggested the satin pillow, by the way. We got to get you a mic so you can chime in on this.
Yeah.
Yes, we need a male energy.
Yes.
Suddenly you're dominating. We're like, what happened?
Telling us the cold plunge.
But yeah, well, speaking of cold plunge,
yes,
let's get into our other journey.
So I was on TikTok. And this woman was on, I don't know what TikTok this is, but there's a woman that was talking on a podcast being like, I can't, just about like male spirituality of the cold plunge. You've got to do
Huberman
this.
husband.
The Win Hof. I follow a lot of like male motivators on Twitter and it's inspiring sometimes. But then you're like, feels like you have the time, and this woman was like, I don't want to follow that because like, where's the woman behind this?
Right,
the wife of the, like, where's she? She probably taking care of the kids while he's in his cold plunge for 45 minutes.
Literally.
Or the meditation. And then this lady stitched it that I also follow who always talks, she studies theology, but she's kind of like, I would say spiritual, but she's not, doesn't really believe in a God, but maybe like a higher power. But she was just like, this is why I don't take spiritual advice from men. Mm-hmm. And she was just talking about like, like a guy being like, I didn't meditate today, so I'm all upset. And then the wife is like cleaning a diaper.
Yeah.
And talking about like changing a diaper in the middle of the night and just like wiping poo out of a baby's bottom will break your ego.
And
that's never seen as spiritual. And I was like, thank you.
Yes.
That I felt like, yes, I've never felt like meditation helps me, but I find cleaning helps me.
Like Zen tasks.
And yes, and that is spirituality. And so it made me feel better. And it was just really nice to finally, I've never seen anybody articulate it, and it wasn't a feeling like, just to have somebody express that made me feel better.
That's so interesting because I saw something, and this is getting away from it a little bit, but we'll get back to it. But I saw something that I thought was so interesting. It was, again, on TikTok, my only form of entertainment and news.
Yes.
That someone was talking about, it was a woman, and she said like, of course, a lot of these people who make it huge in the spiritual community happen to be men, and they're guiding spiritual meditation practices for men in a men's world. And it's like, women are dealing with something completely different. We've been raised different. We've been socialized in a completely polar area of our lives, where it's like a lot of the spiritual practices are dealing with like exactly like breaking the ego down. Like, you need to have your ego down. It's like, if you're a woman who's been told to take up space, take up less space face your entire life. You're like apologizing for like, you know, bumping into somebody. Meanwhile, they're the one that stepped on you.
You're like, I'm on a silent retreat. It's my marriage. Just kidding. I have a good marriage, but that was a joke.
Yeah. No, and it was great. It was very funny. But it was like we as women, like, you don't need to learn an ego death. Like, you don't have an ego problem.
Yes.
Like, you need a different type of spirituality that's like affirming you and
or like self-care, which has been told frivolous sometimes.
Yeah, like self-care is as much as being like, well, maybe I deserve a turn to stare into the sun for 15 minutes today. As your husband is on his like 4-hour morning ritual and you're like getting the kids to school.
Well, they talk about that with like the guys that are, there was a recent article, and I want to say the New Yorker or something, of how bad it ruins marriages when these guys are like, I'm going to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, because then like
Daddy's gone because he's got to do his spiritual retreat.
It's like that 10,000 hours, the 10,000 hours, the Malcolm Gladwell book about is not necessarily just about the fact that you need to do 10,000 hours to get to be greatness, but also there are people that have to support you. Like if you're a child prodigy, like your parents are there like carting you to they're making the arrangements, they're cooking you dinner. And it's the same thing like when one of these like dudes or whoever decides like, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to do that on your own unless you're wildly wealthy.
Yes.
And can afford to have hired help. It's like now there's somebody who's like, I'm taking care of the kids while you're doing your practice climb.
Your Sherpa run.
Yeah. You're 7 years in Tibet, so like preparing, whatever. So it's.
Yeah. Or they talk about that with like, sometimes with the, like a marathon runner, sometimes like it's an extreme, it's very time consuming to be this kind of workout that it can kind of ruin relationship, or like the other partner is putting their life on hold for you.
And you kind of, it does feel like the guy feels in these modern relationships where it's like, well, we're not quite to the place where everything should be like split 50-50 in terms of like child caring, but like the guy feels more entitled to do his activities, where the moms are like, well, what if I want to take up golfing?
Yeah.
Like I'm into golf now too, and I'm going every weekend, so you can deal with it.
Yes. And I feel like that when you flip the script like that, it doesn't work out in our favor. Or where it has a different feeling.
The only way that it works to be a Huberman husband in a relationship is if you are also facilitating your wife doing the face icing and the eating 80 grams of protein before the coffee. Like you have to help her too.
Yes. That's it. Because there's no way that two people can do those kind of journeys together in a partnership.
Yeah.
Well,
it's impractical. I mean, first of all, you can't have a job doing these journeys. You can't have a job and be like, after 5 p.m., we only have red lights in the home.
Yes.
It's like, well, when are you doing your data entry?
Well, it's also like sometimes, you know, and I've gotten this way where you're like, if I don't do this, I won't feel good, like a meditation or like yoga practice. But then you're like, you could do something else that could make you feel better, like a household chore right now or something that you've been putting off. So I get that way sometimes, like maybe you don't have to meditate at this hour, but you could just clean and that would give you the same results.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm all for like doing some kind of like routine that like helps with your mental health in the day, of like, I have my coffee by the window while I gaze, you know, something romantic.
I want to zone out for 10 minutes.
Yeah, zone out. But it's like, also you can't always do that. So you have to be,
well, I've actually
get it in where you can.
Well, I've also accepted like, I sometimes consider being on TikTok for a short period of time meditative for me. Yeah, it's a way for me to relax and then scroll for a little bit.
I think I mean, like with my issue with like procrastinating, you know, I was like never getting started, but then like never taking a break either. So I just like get stuck like doing the same thing over and over. It's like, meanwhile, 5 hours later, I've written no jokes, but I've been writing, you know, I'm just sitting there.
I know.
And then I'm afraid to take a break. So I've been doing a thing now, like and I know this is like very privileged of like the luxury of my time and space of being a freelancer, but like I will try to do a really good hour of work and then I'll try to take like a break for an hour. And I'm like, my whole thing with Design Your Day was about, she's like, you can try to wake up and do like 3 hours of work in the morning, see how efficient you are. And then like the next day later, like wake up in the morning, dick around, and then try to do like 3 hours of work in the afternoon and see how much you get done.
Where is it better?
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh my God, if I can wake up early and do like a ton of work in the morning and then I just cut myself loose for the rest of the day, my stress level is like exponentially lower because I'm like, oh, I already got everything done that I needed to today. I don't need to be running around like, oh my God, I have to think of something.
I got to do all this stuff. Well, that's how like now with the schedule with the baby, just to have 1 hour actually helps.
1 hour.
To be like, okay, this is all the time that I have to do. And then after that, you're like, that's how I feel now is like, all I have to do is just 1 or 2 things today. I don't have to burn myself out with the other.
I think that's how we should always be working. I saw a thing that was like, you should, before industrialization, people worked for like 2 hours a day.
Yes. Well, like, especially with tribal people, like I was reading an article, really most humans are just built for just hanging out all day long
hanging
in
out,
like a community.
Yeah, a little foraging.
Yeah.
Like looking for a tuber.
Taking
fun.
a nap in the afternoon because it's too hot.
Yeah. A siesta.
I'm in the shade talking with my friend. Let me be.
Let me be. That's all I need. Yeah. But meanwhile, we're like, start, get your side hustle going.
You have to do 5 baskets today. Why?
It's so true. It's so true because I think, I mean, obviously, if you work at like a 9 to 5, you don't have the luxury of this. But I do think that like the work expands to fill the space that you have to do the work. So like cutting down and being efficient and resting more, then you get to that efficient place, and it's such a better.
I think that's why a lot of people liked working from home because we all talked about 9 to 5. You're not doing 8 hours of work.
No, you're basically like
sharecropping
of like your like feudal. It's like feudalism where it's like you guys all here.
Yeah, most of the day is maneuvering around everyone's mental illness in the office, and then I would do the last hour. I call it my sprint.
Yeah,
where I'm like, time to get everything that I needed to get done today.
Yeah.
And that's all, like, that's what a 9 to 5 job. So I think people were really happy when they got to work from home because it made them, you could do the 2 hours of actual work. And then while you were waiting for shit to happen, you could do your laundry and have a nice life.
I will say, like, the 4-hour work week, like, that's the premise. His premise in the book, which is why I was turned off by it, is that, like, you basically just outsource everything. It's like, well, not a lot of people have the money to just hire. I mean, then nothing is stopping you. If you just have like a
interns.
spare $200,000,
yes,
that you're like, oh yeah, well I just never do my own laundry or anything, and because I'm wealthy, then what's the problem? But
well, then I've gotten jealous of a few male comics because I've find out that they are getting other comics to clip their stuff for them for free.
Of course, the Chuckle Cucker army. Yeah,
the Chuckle Cucker. I love you. Yeah. Where I'm like, we don't get that in the woman world.
No, we don't. But we would take it if it was.
We would.
If
any
you want to be
female interns out there that we can exploit,
if you're
we will
listening,
put you on here.
We will put you on here
for 1 minute.
Yeah. Say your truth. I actually would take on an intern if somebody. Well, first of all, please like and subscribe. That's all we really need.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Give us a review. Join our Patreon. But if you want to do the most for Lady Journey and take on an unpaid internship and you live in Astoria, then you can.
You can.
And you could just hang out. I mean, we're not going to make you do anything really, but we'll probably teach you video editing.
Yeah. If you can reach out or
if you have a secret crush on either of us
and know the ways of the business world.
Yeah. We welcome aboard. You're on the journey. Oh my God. This was a fun episode. I didn't get to my transformation into a person that uses brown eyeliner, but that's for another day.
That is cliffhanger.
Oh my gosh. And if you're waiting for a stone dedication, those are coming. Those are coming.
Sometimes I can't believe the shit that we talk about.
It is. I mean, what a wild time.
It's the stuff. This is what life is, guys.
When people talk about this,
switching over to brown eyeliner.
It's if I'm in a convection with a woman and she brings up brown eyeliner, I'm like, I'm listening. I'm not spaced out anymore.
Like a deer eating and then a predator's in the field.
Yeah. A threat. Oh my God. But thanks for listening, everybody. Lady Journey.
Lady Journey.